Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So the fishing update is right around the corner, and there are a couple of mechanics there that tie into this little video quite nicely. First up, depending on which part of the map you're in, which region you're in, you can catch different fish, so they are region specific. And secondly, weather also impacts the type and frequency with which you can catch certain fish. So both of these mechanics lead into it being practical to have a very portable camp that you can just drop down wherever you want to go fishing. So I thought we'd put one of those together today. Okay, we're going to keep this one fairly simple for a number of reasons, partly because complex camps just get to be messy with blueprints, and also there's a blueprint size limit that is a relatively new-ish development that will factor into this, but we'll come back to that one. So we're going to get a few foundations in first. Just a little pro tip, by the way. You might want to have a specific camp slot available to keep your portable fishing camp in. You can pick those up from the atomic shop if you need to. That way you don't end up accidentally deleting a camp that you want to save when you're moving around. Particularly useful if you're going to be doing a lot of fishing. But we've got our foundations in with a little T-shape. Now we're going to put a couple of little sort of spaces either side here. And here we're going to place the various sort of camp elements that we're going to actually take advantage of so that we can have a fully functional fishing camp. So it's not going to be a main living camp, but as one you can drop down and fish at, this should have all of the necessary features. So, get a couple of railings in there. I've gone for pavilion walls here just to kind of make it nice and open, but if you don't have those, ordinary fences or even nothing if you don't really want, certainly options are available. So with our fences in, up next, we'll have a look at some roofs, get those in. I'm going for a couple of grassy ones, and we'll be using one of the pavilion ones because it has, well, it's open, it's got holes in it, so I'll be able to actually get it in over the top of some of the taller pieces of furniture that we're going to be dealing with in a minute. Namely, this weather control station. Because weather does affect the type of fish you can catch and the frequency with which they come up, so having a weather control machine in your camp will be particularly useful. I'll link to the developer AMA roundup that I did the other day, by the way, so that you can sort of get the ins and outs of how all of this stuff works. But rain and rad storms and nuclear weather and clear weather types are the four main ones that affect different types of fish. So, now we've got that weather machine in, we'll get a generator in the corner. The solar panel will go straight through the roof there. Any one will do. There's a couple of tips here regarding reliable blueprints as far as being able to place them down goes. One of those is don't connect your wires until after you've blueprinted. If you've got connected wires, you might not be able to place the blueprint. So we're going to leave everything unconnected for the purposes of building here. The other one is don't put any stairs in. In fact, don't use the stair tab at all, and don't have anything clipping into the ground other than your foundations. Otherwise, you may find it won't place. So keeping it simple, keeping everything inside foundations, and we should have a functional blueprint that way, which is what we're after. So let's check everything lines up. It looks all right. Right, so this is a chemistry bench, the toxic tinctures one. It's going to be a stand-in today, because this is where I would put my cannery station if I was far enough along through Season 21. Now, we're a couple of days ahead of Season 21 coming out, so obviously I don't have that yet. But the chemistry bench there is going to sort of... we're going to pretend that's our cannery. It's about the same size, which is why I picked that one. So you may have to tweak this end a little bit depending on variations around the cannery and where the access point to the workbench is. But the idea is you can have a cannery in there because when you catch your fish, you can cook it and then preserve it if you so desire. So we'll make sure we can actually activate those workbenches. Yeah, we'll have to pretend this chemistry station is in fact a cannery station. The weapons workbench, incidentally, is where you will modify your fishing rod, so that's why that is there. And we'll get a cooking station in. I'm going to use a barbecue for, well, for cooking, funnily enough. Get a couple of lights up here, just to make the place a little bit nicer. If you don't want to faff around with quite so many wires and things, then you leave the lights off altogether, or use oil lamps or something like that. Then you won't have to worry about power for those. But you're going to need power for the weather machine, so might as well. There we go, a couple of lights in. We're getting there. Looks like everything wires up okay and functions. Yep, looks good. So I'll get rid of those wires. Nice. Ready for the blueprinting. And you see my other camp there. And now we're going to add a few extra little bits of decoration just to make this feel a bit more finished and like a fishing spot. You can see my other camp in the background there. That was initially going to be tying in with this idea of a movable fishing camp. Turns out that did not go according to plan. It started off quite well, but by the time I decorated it, not so much, and I'll show you why in a second. So, we've got some decoration in. Let's get a stash box in, because it's always worth having one of those, as well as our scrap box and our ammo box. Inevitably, somebody's going to come up and try and shoot you when you're fishing, no doubt. Some scorched or something, so having an ammo box and the like around is useful. Let's get a little seat in place. You're not actually going to be sitting when you fish, so this is entirely decorative, but I imagine we'll get fishing tackle boxes as well before too long. But for now, I'm going to use this toolbox, as it looks more or less right. And we'll have a quick scroll through and find ourselves a thermos flask from the Steins. Seeing as, well, you gotta have your thermos with you when you go fishing, right? Apparently, so they say, something. And there we go. That pretty much has everything in place, I think. Yeah. As I say, pretend that's a cannery bench, and otherwise that should be about functional. So, let's see if we can blueprint this, shall we? We're going to have a look at that. Press and hold E on keyboard there, so that we can select the blueprint. Z to select structure, so we've got everything there. And you can see that blueprint budget on the right there. That's the key thing, and that is why my other camp didn't work, because it was way over that. As you can see, we're 2/3 of the way through the blueprint budget, and this is a really tiny structure. So, yeah, that's something to bear in mind. If you make something too big or too complicated, you won't be able to blueprint it. So, we'll drop that into a fishing dock slot there. And let's pull this whole thing apart and see if we can replace it, shall we? Here we go. So we'll go over to the blueprint tab. If I've done this right, it should work just fine. There we go. And that looks pretty good to me. I did give myself a fright earlier because it wouldn't place and I thought I'd messed something up. Turned out I was just trying to place too many weather machines in one camp, but it seems to work fine. Jumping off the end there, we can swim, and that's the other key thing to note with places that you can fish at. You must be able to swim in them. And we can here, so this should work nicely. There we go. One simple, portable fishing spot with all the necessary accoutrements you need, or at least it will do if you have the cannery machine when you get that far through Season 21. For those who are coming later, by the way, it'll probably appear either on the Atomic Shop or possibly, if we're lucky, via gold bullion vendors once Season 21 is over, but grab it while it's there if you possibly can. So, hope you folks found that useful and informative and it was helpful to you. If you did like the video, please consider dropping subs and likes. I very much appreciate. Down below, got social media links and channel memberships if you want to support the channel that way. Really, really appreciate that. And if you get a chance, join us for live streams as well. We'll, of course, be checking out the fishing update very, very soon. And we are playing Atomfall as well at the moment. About to dive into the DLC on that one. And we're checking out a few other bits and pieces as well. Oblivion Remastered and Tainted Grail as well. So lots to watch there if you are interested. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.